Listen, Dacus, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm fine. Yeah, good to have you here. Are you enjoying being on the road these days?
Yeah, I am. It's so good to be back in Europe too. Like, it's a far more beautiful place than the US. We've toured a little bit in the US, but every city looks the same pretty much. Whereas here, like, every city looks and feels so different. So the days feel like a week long. And so we've been here 2.5 weeks and it feels like a year.
2.5 weeks?
Yeah.
That is a while. And do you miss home when you're away?
Yeah, I do. I live with a lot of my friends who I really love, and, you know, we get updates like, oh, this happened, that happened, but it's hard to not experience those things with them. And it's not as fun to report on your life as it is to live your life.
But what do you do on tour while not playing?
I read a lot, and usually I knit, but I think I didn't bring it this time because it took up too much space in my bag. I've been also learning about tarot, like tarot cards, and reading books about that. So just becoming a witch.
I wish you brought your cards.
I would have loved to do some readings.
If someone would like to know what kind of books you read, they can add you on the Goodreads app.
Yes.
Because I did. And I saw recently the book Healing Back Pain got a 5 out of 5. What kind of book is that?
I hurt my back really bad at the beginning of February, and our whole tour in the US, I laid on a couch and sang from the couch because it was so bad. And lots of people recommended this book, and it basically just tells you about how you hold tension in your body because of stress, and when you hurt yourself, it's because your body's already tense. And so if you really want to heal, you need to like start with the brain. And yeah, I think it's made a difference. I'm not on a couch now.
No. But how's your back at the moment while traveling?
Yeah, it's all right. Every morning I wake up like a little tight, but then I just kind of ignore it and stretch, and it's fine.
I just read Susanna Clark's Piranesi because of you and your Goodreads review. What did you love about it?
I loved the scene of it. Like, I loved all of the settings, and I love that for so long you think it's one type of book and then it becomes a different type of book by the end. And I'm also a journaler, so I really understand like having a voice for it. Like the book is journals, and having like a private voice where you work out what's happening to you is very relatable to me. Yeah, it's cool that you read it from my recommendation. It was actually recommended to me from Mitski. I don't know if you know her. Sure. She's amazing. Yeah, she gave me the book when I was in Nashville. And yeah, it's just really a fun read.
Have you always been into books?
Yeah, it was actually my third word. I was said book, Bible, and bubble. Those are my first words as a baby.
Because in Kissing Lessons that you released in February, you're singing from the viewpoint of a second grader. How early were you reading?
I used to pretend to read before I could actually read. Yeah. I would just like open a book and be like, and then flip the page and go, like maybe before I was even 1 year old. And then like my parents would read me the same books to go to sleep, and I would memorize what they said. And so I would flip the page and I would say what the page said without being able to actually know the words. So I'd say very early.
But who were you in second grade?
Who was I?
Yeah.
Oh, let me think back. I had just gotten a new baby brother, and so I think I was really annoying and I really wanted attention and probably louder, and I used to fake being sick so my parents would pay attention to me. Yeah, I bet I was a pretty annoying kid, but hopefully I'm not annoying now.
You're doing good so far. Do you ever miss being a child?
It's funny, like, you would think yes, because I think about it a lot, but even on this tour, I think I realized, like, no. I think those are some of my worst times because I couldn't make any decisions. I was like waiting to be able to build my own life. And I think that a lot of childhood was just coping with the fact that I couldn't be who I wanted to be. And yeah, like I think about being like 10 years old and just depressed, basically, and just being like, I'll get older one day, life will get better. And it did. Like, I have really enjoyed growing up. I even liked high school better than all the years before. So, yeah, I'm not nostalgic for being 7 again.
What kind of music were you into when you were like 10?
When I was 10, like the music I had access to was like church music and musical theater because that was like what my mom does. She's a pianist for theater. And I wasn't really allowed to listen to like the radio, and my parents didn't really want me to know about like pop stars because they were like too sexy. So I would occasionally hear pop music from like my friends like at their houses. But yeah, very limited music taste at that time. I really didn't start to love my own music until high school.
What were the first music that you got really into on your own terms?
Well, the ones that I first got into that are from my parents, but that I genuinely loved were Bruce Springsteen, which I guess you'll hear a cover of his by us, and then Prince and David Bowie. Also Carole King. Those were all CDs that my parents had that I would just go and find and play. So they didn't like introduce them to me, but they were in the house.
Listen, Dacus, we're about to hear you play your own music now, or you're going to start with a Bruce song.
Yes.
Yeah, but why did you choose to record and cover Dancing in the Dark?
It's such a good song, like just like front to back. The sentiment is so relatable. There's so much like energy to it. It's also like a gift for my dad since he's like the #1 Bruce fan. It's a way that we bond. And I also like covering songs that other people have covered because it reminds me of hymns, or it reminds me of like hits in the 50s where like you didn't really know like who owned the song. Like the song had a life of its own. And yeah, I think the more people cover a song, the more it exalts it to like a hymn status.
Let's hear it. Det altså Lucy Dacus som på besøk hos Selskapssjuk med en liten minikonsert for deg nå, og hun starter med sine makkere her med sin egen versjon av Dancing in the Dark.